Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on April 10th, 2013, picking up right where we left off in the last episode. What we're working on in this chapter is smoke tests for our HTML front-end code. Now we have smoke tests for our server, we have a great set of tests for our client-side code, we know that all of our drawing stuff works exactly the way it's supposed to, except that when we actually load our WeWikiPaint page and draw, nothing happens. And the reason for that is that our index.html, our web page, isn't actually hooked up to our JavaScript correctly. The JavaScript works, the page works, but the two are not connected. So we, in this chapter, are updating our smoke tests to make sure that that doesn't happen again. When we made changes to our JavaScript that caused this to break, we wanted our build to break, but it didn't. So that's what we want to try to solve. Now, in the last chapter, in the last episode, we got PhantomJS working in a really bare bones way. PhantomJS is a tool for doing, well, browser automation. And specifically, it allows you to run a headless WebKit. And WebKit is the browser engine that powers Safari and Chrome, although Chrome is moving off to their own fork of WebKit. By using PhantomJS, we can actually emulate a real browser. So when we run this bit of PhantomJS code here, it runs relatively quickly, very quickly in the world for the world of browser automation, and it actually runs a real browser. So what we've got it doing here is doing a snapshot of the page, and you can see here, here's what PhantomJS sees. That's very cool and very powerful, and I want to leverage that to get to test our web page. What we're doing here is a spike so far, and actually in the last episode we just put our code right in the root directory, but I'm going to move this down here. I'm going to get rid of this, and we'll move this down to here. And let's stop rendering this. What I want to do is have this code actually open up our WeWikiPaint page. So let's have it, let's have it render WeWikiPaint, and we'll go to localhost. Now this should fail because we're not actually running localhost at the moment. Oh, well, that failed for a different reason. I moved the script, so now it can't find it. There. It failed, and I presume that's because, well, localhost isn't running. So let's go ahead and start that up. Now our page is actually working. We can see it load in the browser, and now we should be able to see it load here as well. All right, that's a really good sign. We got an error saying that undefined is not an object evaluating drawing area.element. That's actually good. That's almost certainly something to do with the way our HTML is not connecting properly. Let's see what happened with our WeWikiPaint screenshot. There it is. Cool. So we're loading the right thing. Excellent. Now the trick is, so we've got our WeWikiPaint page loading for real in a real browser. Well, a sort of a real browser. PhantomJS is as close to a real browser as we need to get, I think. And now what we need to do is simulate just enough to prove that this works. And I think what I want to do here is just draw on the page and see that that works. And in fact, it might be enough to just start out by saying, do we have our HTML element class? One of the problems here is that our HTML element file is not being loaded. So let's go ahead and check for that. Now, in order to check for that, we can't, I don't know of any way to directly look at the contents of the page, but what PhantomJS does allow us to do is it allows us to evaluate JavaScript inside the page directly. The way you do that is by saying page.evaluate and passing in a function. And anything you put inside here actually will run inside the page. So if I say console log hi here, we probably won't see anything. Yeah, we don't see hi because it's happening. Now it's running inside the browser. However, what we can do is write a bit of code to keep an eye out for those console messages. And output them to our command line console. So now we should see it say hi. Yeah, perfect. Okay. This code is running inside of our PhantomJS browser. That means it should be able to tell if we have the WeWikiPaint variable or not. So let's look at that. Type of WeWikiPaint is object. Perfect. And type of something that doesn't exist is undefined. That's great. So we should also be able to say, let's go ahead and factor this out into a function. We'll call this isDefined. Let's see, I can't find it. Oh, because I put the function outside of the evaluate. And again, this is really isolated to the browser. It can't see, it's not a closure. It can't see anything outside of the evaluate call. I don't know how that works. I think they're doing some funky stuff inside of PhantomJS, but however it works, it's very cool. So there we have it. We want to, now let's make this pass in the thing that we're looking for. Okay, WeWikiPaint is defined, and WeWikiPs is not defined. Perfect. All right. Now, what about our WeWikiPaint initialized drawing area? That should be defined. Yes. And our WeWikiPaint HTML element should not be defined. Good. But now, if we go into here and we say HTML element.js and include that script, now it should be defined. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Now, the next thing to do is to prove that this actually works. And this is just a spike. So rather than trying to solve everything, I think what I'd like to do is just do something that would demonstrate that this is working, and then maybe we can take a screenshot of it to just to visually inspect it for the purposes of the spike. Let's see, this is starting to get a little complicated, so let me factor this method out. We'll call it in browser. And just see if that's still working. Yep, that's still working. Now, to actually demonstrate that this works, I think what we need to do is draw on the page. In PhantomJS, you can send events. However, it doesn't seem that sending mouse events works 100% correctly. There's actually an issue with GitHub. I did some experimentation offline before I recorded, and there's this issue here about simulating mouse drag and drop that they were not seeing mouse down, mouse move, mouse up work with PhantomJS. And I saw the exact same problem when I was trying this before. So what I'm thinking is, rather than simulating our mouse events with mouse down, mouse move, mouse up through PhantomJS, I'm actually thinking that maybe we simulate the events in the same way we do in our unit tests. Because, I mean, it's not as good as actually using PhantomJS, but our purpose here is just to prove that these things are hooked up correctly. So I think it will be good enough. To make a long story short here, I think what we can do is we can just use our existing WeWikiPaint HTML element abstraction to pull out our drawing area and then do our mouse events on it. I'm really confident that this code works. It's just a matter of proving that it's hooked up. So this should work. So let's say we do a mouse down at 1020, and then we'll do a mouse move and a mouse up. We'll move to, let's say, 5060, and then we'll do our mouse up at 5060. And then after that, we'll need to take a screenshot, which we're already doing right here. So right now, if we open wewikipaint.png, we get nothing. But with this change, we should be able to see a line drawn. Well, actually, we won't see a line drawn because we haven't fixed the problem yet. So yeah, we still don't see it. But now, if we go into here and we modify our drawing area to take a HTML element like it's supposed to, then will it work? Yes. Yes, it will. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. This is enough, I think, for us to prove whether or not our HTML is actually connected to our web page. Now, it isn't perfect. It would be better if it was actually not using the DOM events, but actually using OS level events, using the send, using PhantomJS's send event capability. But as I said, when I was testing this offline, I wasn't able to get that to work. Okay, what we've done here is we've spiked PhantomJS. That's what we've just finished. Now what we need to do is we need to integrate PhantomJS into our smoke test. That might take a bit of work. Then we're going to need some way of knowing whether or not this mouse stuff worked. And I'm thinking the way we'll do that is we'll steal some more of our code. We'll steal our line segments code to test that. So we'll need to factor out our Raphael line segment test code. And then we'll need to modify smoke test to draw a line and assert that the line is present. Then finally, we'll need to update our build to make everything automatic and refactor and final polish. Okay. It's quite a bit to do. I'm hoping it will go quickly, but you know, this stuff never goes as quickly as I hope. I think that's true for all programming. It never goes as fast as we hope, does it? At any rate, this is what we're going to pick up with next time. We're about to start integrating this into our real smoke test rather than just doing a spike. I'm looking forward to it. This is really bringing in a whole new level of sophistication to our test-driven development and to our automated script, and I am really liking what it's adding. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.